WNYWatercooler.com.
When you look at her and when you see the mind is weak. I don't see it. I don't get it. I never understood.
Hey, who the fuck are you? Huh? Who the fuck are you?
Away we go. And away we go. Away we go. Away we go. We go. And away we go. Clap your hands.
Yo, is there any chance you can pause this? I'm pretty sure Mallory's about to throw up everywhere.
All right.
Hang on. I gotta get her out of the car and like.
Clap your hands. I won't lose your day. Clap your hands. Clap your money. Clap your hands. But it don't seem like it. Clap your hands. Are you up to something? Clap your hands. With my milk and honey.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, Jesus Christ. I got Halloween shit going on here. WNYWatercooler.com podcast. Steve, the host. We got Coast on the line.
What's up, Steve?
Spooky season. I wasn't expecting spooky season to make an appearance on the podcast. Oh, babe, that one's off. We only had the one on. What a bye week. How fun.
Our bye weeks are the worst. Last year, after the lucky pass, this year just really tough to swallow these 2 week breaks in between games. You need a Thursday nighter after these devastating losses.
Well, also the NFL games were they're horrific. I mean, the average point differential, the deficit of victory, whatever, it was like 20 points, 19 and a half points or some shit.
Yeah, there was no close games, but at least the results went our way, I think. Baltimore losing was nice. I kind of thought, I didn't think Baltimore was that good to begin with. So it was nice to see them lose. Cincinnati, I still can't take them like totally seriously. And then Kansas City losing again. Yeah, Tennessee, they did beat us. Probably want them to lose eventually, but I'd rather see KC get another loss because I still think they're a bigger threat. They could. I could like run the table.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I'd rather see KC lose than Tennessee, but Tennessee has a pretty easy schedule. Oh, the Colts are all right, and I mean, it's still too early to look at that shit. I mean, the Bills could rattle off 2 or 3 losses, although we have the easiest schedule in the world, like literally the easiest schedule. So it's kind of tough to imagine. But I mean, the defense didn't show up. The coach got embarrassed. We got throttled by the Titans. So anything's really possible.
Wow, lots to unpack there. First of all, easy schedule. Definitely 2 or 3 more losses. You're right. Like we could lose. If we lose 2 more games, we go 13-4, and one of those losses is going to be like a game that we're big favorites in. So if we lose any other games except like Tampa, people are going to be like, it's going to be surprising. We won't be underdogs in any other game other than Tampa, and who knows at that point. With Tampa, we're favorites or underdogs. The coach getting embarrassed, you're going to have to elaborate on that more for me because I don't know. I'm not following.
Well, I mean, Epinesa, he had a strong presence on the bench. I mean, that was a good idea to bench him and let Tannehill just stand back there all day, drinking like Mai Tais and just throwing it to A.J. Brown. They have one receiver on the team. I don't think they dressed more than one receiver after Julio got hurt. And we can't guard the guy. I mean, our supposed genius coordinator and genius coach, we don't dress Epinesa. Oh, here you go, Tannehill. Get one of those zero gravity chairs and just chill back there and just toss the ball. It's got a string tied to it. He's like a yo-yo. I don't know what's going on. That was horrible defense.
Well, Epinesa, I don't know why he was inactive, whatever. But the problem...
Why was Moss inactive week 1? I'll never get these answers.
We have so much depth that when we make guys inactive, they're actually good players. But no, I agree. I agree on Moss too. I think we maybe win that game with him. But besides the point, Epinesa thing, the Bills defense, the issue wasn't necessarily. I don't think the issue. I mean, we didn't like touch Tannehill, obviously, but the issue to me was the run. It was the run defense. We started off the game well against Henry, and then he had that 75-yard touchdown run, and I think that flipped the game. We were like afraid of it. The play fakes owned us. I mean, Brown. That was Tannehill's success. Play action pass. Brown, like it was automatic. And it just seemed like after that long run, we were like so scared of Henry that it just opened up everything.
Yeah, I mean it's not necessarily a busted play, but it was still a fluke play. He runs for 76 yards, whatever it was, and then we pretty much clamped down on him. He had I think like 3 yards of carry after that, if you subtract that play. So we just overcompensated after that, and just no one decided to cover Moltz Jr. And the guy is just anytime that Tannehill needed it, like slants over the middle, easy. Here's 11 yards.
Yeah, and Mini Moltz did the same thing to us last year. It's like we can't cover this guy, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, we did kind of clamp down on Henry, but I think that he became our sole concern, and after that long run, it's like, I don't know, we just kind of lost handle on what we were doing on defense. I don't necessarily blame coaching. I don't know if that's like just the players themselves were just spooked. But after that long run, I mean, the Titans' last 6 possessions of the game, they had 4 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and one of the field goals only was a field goal attempt because they had a holding. Like, we didn't really stop them without getting like help.
Yeah, the defense is a fraud. Where are these great linebackers? Where are these great safeties? We got embarrassed. It was pathetic.
I don't necessarily think the defense is a fraud, more so than.
We weren't playing against the backup quarterback. Yeah, I feel bad for him.
No, not even that. The Titans. I just don't think the Titans are a good matchup for us. And I think that had we gotten the lead early, like the reason why we lost is defense and red zone efficiency. The first 2 drives, we didn't score touchdowns. If we go up 14-0 or even 10-0, well, it could be a different game. But it's 6-0, then Henry busts that long run. All of a sudden, we're losing, and Tennessee's kind of in a comfortable position there.
Yeah, I was losing my mind about those field goals, and you guys were like, "Oh, well, we need the points."
The first 2 possessions, we had to kick field goals. It was like 3rd and goal from the 10, and we were like the 10 both times.
Yeah, we kicked like a 50-something yard field goal, and I said it was useless.
Yeah, I know you were angry about that one, but Vrabel. I didn't have a problem with the field goal attempts, but the problem was on those first 2 drives, and I meant to do this before this podcast, but I didn't find an hour to go through it. I
so
just
busy.
Like we're running. I feel like we're running the ball on 2nd and long inside the red zone like regularly. And if you're going to run on 2nd and long inside the red zone, you're going to set up a 3rd down.
It seemed a few times we did that. I noticed that too.
On the first 2 drives, we definitely did. We ran on, it was 2nd down and 8. 2nd down and 8 from the 10 or something. And we ran. And then it was 2nd and goal from the 10 and we ran. And when you're running on 2nd and long that close to the end zone, it's like 99% that you're going to set up a 3rd down. And 3rd downs are hard to convert when you have no room on the field there. So it just seems like we're doing that kind of often, and I don't understand why, or I don't like it. I think that's really hurting us inside the red zone. I mean, when you're inside the 10, I feel like every play you should be trying to score.
The fourth and inches play, although I still think that we got the first down on 3rd down which was just a strange play too. So even if we get the first down there, we have maybe 2 attempts to get a touchdown after that, and with no timeouts. Not kicking the field goal, fine. You don't want to tie the game and depend on your defense and a coin toss, I guess. But I don't get that play call. The sneak, even if he gets it, he's not going to get 3 yards and get into the end zone.
Yeah, I guess I didn't have any problem with them going for it. Like in the moment, I was nervous that I don't know.
They seemed rattled.
Like human nature, you kind of just want the game to just extend. But had the defense shown any sort of prayer of stopping them in the second half, I would have been okay with taking it to overtime. Really, based on what you're saying, because they called the QB sneak, which means they still would have had to score. So it's not like I don't know.
That's most of my problem with that play.
It's almost like if you're going to go for it there, run a play where you're actually trying to score because I know it's lower percentage of getting the first down from the sneak, but you're I don't know.
I still need someone to explain to me the math. The people on the radio, the math says go for it. The fuck, the math is saying they know that it's like the most pressure-packed play at the very end of the game, and that you know how the offensive line has been getting manhandled by this seemingly underrated Titans front seven or at least front four. I don't understand the math. The math. That's all they say is the math. You're talking about every play for the last 40 years, math? That makes no sense to me.
Well, here's the thing about math. Math doesn't take into account, like you said, emotions and, the stress level, the pressure, and all this stuff. Like, not every fourth down and one is created equally. And I can't stand hearing about, obviously analytics has some value, but these people that obsess about it and think it's like the only thing that matters it's just idiotic. And yeah, it was a super high pressure situation. It probably was like a 50-50. Yeah, normal QB sneak, like 90%, whatever, 95%. Not that QB sneak. And the way we ran it, too, was like, I don't know, like if you're going to run QB sneak, just freaking run a normal QB sneak. Like, do we really need to have Allen, like, in the shotgun, then, like, going up to the line? If anything, it's, like, making him more nervous. Then he slips, and I don't know. Like, it's just, the whole thing seemed sort of rushed. And
it did. Off the timeout, too.
There's no need to trick them. Just run the QB sneak, get everyone in there, run it straight behind the center. You're going to get the first down, probably. I just think we were, like, almost trying to be too cute with the sneak, even. And, like, I don't know, it
looked ugly. The last minute of that game, I didn't rewatch it. I probably should, but it was just remembering it live. It was just sloppy and like.
Well, the third down was sort of chaotic, and then apparently after the game, McDermott said they signaled the first down, and then they like radioed it down and were like, nope, short.
Well, that
caused us to like kind of rush, or if that messed up anything. I mean, McDermott seemed like pissed about it after the game, but they could have. If they call a first down, they could have like had one play. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe we like initially called in. We had personnel out there that we were in the shotgun, and like maybe we thought it was first down, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, let's do a sneak. I don't know. Like we had one timeout left, so I don't know. The whole thing was like just. You're right. It was just like very. Just didn't look great. It was a rough way for that game back. I don't know. I don't know how anyone could watch that game and think that we weren't the better team. I think it was clear we were the better team. It's just, I mean, on that same drive, we had a kick return. We had a kick return touchdown. Yeah, Tennessee probably would have driven down and scored, but you never know. That holding didn't like spring McKenzie. He was going to score without that hold, so that was like unlucky. And
yeah, but I just assume that's any kickoff punt return. I just assume it's coming back, but. Yeah, so we get embarrassed by the Titans, and now we have to hope that they lose a game of the Jags and the Colts or some shit. But I mean,
they will.
Well, I mean, we get the Dolphins and Jets still 3 more times. We get this Dolphins team coming in here. I mean, this team is in disarray. I mean, they lose it to back-to-back games to Jacksonville and Atlanta. Like that sounds like a joke. That sounds like a start of a weird joke. How could you lose to those 2 teams in a row?
You got the Brian Flores, the genius coach that everyone was obsessed with last season. Now it's like, is he going to be the first coach fired? It's like how these things change. I mean, they're in total shambles. And then all this Deshaun Watson stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, that's got to be like causing. There's no way that's not like causing some kind of like awkwardness in that locker room.
Oh, I mean, do you listen to these Tua press conferences? He like the last 2 weeks, he just sounds like sad. Like he sounds just like someone like he just got bullied in the locker room or like in the lunchroom or something. It's like I almost feel bad for the guy. He's like, oh yeah, I wouldn't not say that, or he said something like, I don't know. The guy sounds just
Oh
beat.
yeah, he's like, they're like, do you feel wanted? And he's like, I don't feel not wanted.
Yeah, like what the?
He's like, there's been rumors for months about the Dolphins trading for Deshaun Watson, and like, it's this play. They're like, they want this player who would 100% come with like a ton of like negative publicity. He might not even be allowed to play, yet they're still doing it. They still want to do it, and you're just two of us sitting here like drafted Phil in the top 5 like a year and a half ago, and it's just got to be. It's got to be causing some
The
little
whole
bit of turmoil.
the whole thing is just so like hilarious. Like I'm just so funny that's happening to the Dolphins. There's like so many layers to it. Like okay, you just drafted Tua like super high. He's a lefty. He was a project. He was hurt. He's short. He's not like he doesn't. He played on a fantasy team in college, and then you
Yeah.
bench him and you put him in, take him out for fits, and then you have all this. Oh, let's trade for a guy that like no fan base would ever get behind right now because of all the allegations and shit. And you want to have trade for him now because it's cheaper, but then it's ruining the season and you're 1-5. Like the whole thing is just a complete mess. It's like the EJ Manuel situation, but like infinitely worse.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't understand why they would even. I mean, just taking whatever. I don't think they're a quarterback away from being good, and their season's over no matter what. Like,
Yeah, they're
I
one
don't.
in five and they have losses to just horrible teams. I mean, they're probably going to get smoked by us again this week. You might as well either trade for him or just say, I mean, the trade deadline's next week anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. But you either they should have came out before going to London, which is a big trip. And they don't go there every year like Jacksonville does. So you either say we're going to trade for him or we're not going to trade for him. It's to his team. It's to his year. And they don't do that.
Exactly.
They hedge and hem and haw. It's just pathetic.
It's so pathetic. They're 1-6. They're 1-6, by the way. Their season's completely over. So
And the best part or worst part, I mean, there's not really Dolphins fans, but for us, I mean, their draft picks the last few years. Jalen Phillips, he's got 1.5 sacks. They got him in the 18th overall this year for Miami. I mean, our guy from Miami is better than him. Jalen
yeah.
Waddle, who they could have had either the tight end from Atlanta or they could have had the wide receiver from Cincy, Jamar Chase or Pitts.
Ouch.
Instead, they traded back and then traded back up to get Waddle, so they don't have their own pick this year, first round pick in 2022 draft. Then last year they had Tua, they had 3 first round picks. Tua, Austin Jackson, who they already moved to left guard. He's not even a tackle anymore. And they traded they drafted that Noah Igbenogendeo or whatever hell his name is. He's a cornerback. He was a healthy scratch last week. I mean, they're just completely botching it. 3 years ago, Christian Wilkins, who he like pushed one of our players a couple years ago, and that was the only time I ever heard of him. Before that, Minka Fitzpatrick, who they've already traded out.
Yeah.
Whoever Charles Harris is was a linebacker they drafted 4 years ago. I mean, this franchise is just it's humorously pathetic.
I know, it's great. It's really great to see. I have no complaints about any of that. I mean, their best guys were added via free agency, right? Like, their corners and, I don't know, I mean, they're just, it seems like they have injuries on offense all the time. The receivers, they're like never healthy. They're a total mess. They're a total mess. And this is a team that, their over-under was like 9.5 or something this season. Like, they were, I think, most people, experts quote, even though there really aren't any, were like thought this team could contend for a wild card, and now they're just pretty much the worst team in the AFC. It's crazy.
And it's fun
for us, but
like we completely dismantled their offensive line, and they draft high offensive linemen every year. They had a tackle in the offensive line first round last year. They had a guard in the second round 2 years ago. They had they're always drafting high offensive linemen, and they're all just horrible.
yeah, you think they did, and yet they have their offensive line was a turnstile when we played them week 2.
Yeah, he got two almost killed.
How many sacks did we have in that game? I mean, Rousseau, Epinesa looked like he was going to be the best
Depoy.
defensive MVP after that game.
I guess, I mean, and there's not really much reason to talk about the Dolphins because they're just a joke. And, I mean, they'll come into our barn. They might come out and play good for a half, but, I mean, unless something really fluky happens, the way the weather's going to be, the second half, I just see us really dismantling them.
I mean, losing to Miami would be astounding at this point. I mean, they do have some. We killed them, Tampa killed them, but all the rest of their other 5 games were very close. They lost in overtime to the Raiders. They lost at the buzzer to Jacksonville and Atlanta. So they have those 3 games that really could have gone either way. And then they lost by 10 to Indy. So they're 1-6. It could be more like a 3-4 type team. But either way, I mean, the last 2 games we played against Miami have been just.
The last 2, it seems like the last. I mean, since Flores has been there, it seems like we just completely embarrassed them. But
they haven't beaten us since the Charles Clay game. That was the last time that Miami beat us. And that was
Allen's rookie year.
And we've had we've run them over, like killed them in a lot of these games. It's almost like the opposite. It's like what the Patriots used to do to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Patriots still do to the Jets somehow. But
I know.
So the trade deadline's next week. We're not going to have a podcast before then. I mean, broken hand boy Knox from Ole Miss boy. He threw that 2-point conversion with a broken hand. We didn't replace him in free agency. We didn't get Ertz, who instantaneously had an impact for Arizona. So we're going on with Tommy Sweeney, some guy from the practice squad. I heard his name for the first time today, and Gilliam, who's nobody. I think we have to make a move. Or are we actually going to use the 4th round pick from last year, Davis hasn't seen the field? Manny Sanders, I mean, he had a couple of good plays, but he's been pretty quiet.
Sanders?
Yeah.
He's been good. I'm not worried about it. How long is Knox going to be out?
They said, well, I don't think he's on IR, or is he?
No, he's not on IR.
So he's going to miss at least 2 games. Probably.
So he's going to miss Miami, and then who do we play after Miami? Jacksonville?
Yeah, Jacksonville and then the Jets. Actually, yeah, Manny had good stats.
He's up an asset for a tight end right now. I think Knox is good. Knox has been really good. And who knows? Maybe Sweeney will be good. He hasn't had the opportunity. Caught a nice touchdown pass last week. So, I'm not too worried about. I don't want to trade anything for a tight end if Knox is only going to miss a game or 2. If it was longer term, then yeah. But he's got a broken hand. He already had surgery. I mean,
he could barely catch to begin with. Yeah,
it took him 3 years to learn how to catch. This does make me a little nervous.
Yeah, it's disconcerting to have a broken hand on a guy that just learned how to catch. Like my son and him have just learned to catch like within the last couple of days.
Yeah, that is disconcerting. You don't want someone who's just learned to catch at age 24 breaking his hand. Now he's gonna have to learn from scratch. Jesus. Well, maybe Sweeney will take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, maybe. Well, so I mean, there's no point in talking about the Dolphins too much. So I mean, AFC, I don't like to talk about one seed because there's so much that can happen, and now there's still we still have 11 games.
We're in the driver's seat for the 1 seed. It's simple in my mind. I don't even want to talk about it. If we don't get the 1 seed, I'll be disappointed because if we go worse than 13-4, that's going to require 2 pretty big upset losses. I mean, we shouldn't lose more than 2 games the rest of the year. I don't know. And is someone going to go 14-3? Maybe.
The schedule again is just so easy, but there is a lot. There's 2 or 3 games in January, regular season games in January, a lot of games in December. I mean, my Farmer's Almanac that I bought the other day on discount at Walgreens said that winter's going to be coming earlier, so there could be a lot of snow. That could factor into some of these weird games, like the Colts a couple years ago.
Weird, yeah.
Farmer's Almanac.
There's weird games all the time. Indy, that's a tough game. There's just, we have, like, Carolina. Carolina sucks now. But there's, like, games against teams that could be pretty good. You mix it bad, could be tough. Mix it bad weather. You just never know. In December, too, you could get a snow game that's, like, literally doesn't even matter how good you are. It's just total luck.
I don't know if the dehumidifier in the Mercedes-Benz Dome works, so Thanksgiving could be a crapshoot. But the AFC is just so weird. Bengals are 5-2. Baltimore, I just had. I mean,
Baltimore 5-2. Cincy 5-2. Titans 5-2.
Patriots quiet 3-4. I mean, and they're two of their losses. I mean, Dallas and Tampa are two of the best teams in the league, and they barely lost to them. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
I don't know.
They lost to Miami, and they almost lost to Houston.
Yeah, the Houston game that they probably should have lost that.
And they've already played 5 home games,
which is weird. Yeah.
And they play the Chargers this week, which is a pretty interesting game because I think a lot of people still really want to think the Chargers are for real. I never really was drinking that Kool-Aid, even when everyone was obsessed with them before they got smoked by Baltimore. But I think that's an interesting game, Chargers Patriots this week. I'm obviously rooting for the Chargers, or are we rooting for the Chargers? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, the whole thing is weird. Raiders are somehow 5-2, Chargers 4-2,
yeah, Raiders.
Chiefs 3-4, Bengals 5-2, Ravens 5-2, Tennessee 5-2. We're 4-2.
So if we beat Miami and New England loses to the Chargers, we're 2.5 games. 3-5.
Say we lose to the Dolphins and the Patriots. I mean, there'd have to be a meteorite strike.
We're not going to get swept by them. I mean, either.
But say some of the Patriots beat this second-year quarterback, who they almost always beat these young quarterbacks, and we somehow lose the Dolphins on like some weird triple fake punt.
It's going to be panic mode around here.
We'll have the same amount of wins.
I'd have to extend out my NFL media blackout for another week or.
That's when I thrive.
I would be able to stomach it if we lost Miami and we were beat. Yeah, we'd be 4-3, they'd be 4-4. That can't happen. There's no way.
That's when I.
It could. But.
That's like the Undertaker gif for me. I wake up at that point.
Oh my God, you'd be in heaven.
Browns 4-3.
Unless we lost like 41-38 or something, and Allen threw for 506 yards, and it was just amazing. Not even. Unless we lost like 49-42, we scored a touchdown on all our drives, like 0 stops. I
just can't picture Tua putting up 30 points against us. I mean,
it'd be rough for you.
He looked scared against us a couple weeks ago. That's why I hate this schedule. I've hated this schedule all since it came out in April or May. It's just we play the Dolphins twice. We don't play the Patriots or Jets, and we just have so many horrible teams that we have to like. We're not going to know anything about this team. That's what the other thing I was thinking of. Even say things go as we expect. We pretty much roll through. We go 13-4. We have an extra loss in there. We lose to Tampa. We're not going to know anything about this team. We're going to roll into the playoffs. We'll probably be the 2 seed for some reason. We'll get the Chiefs in the first round. Like, you think that we're going to feel comfortable in that game? Or if we have to go the next week to Tennessee again for the AFC Championship game, like, we're not going to know shit about this team. That's the worst part.
Yeah, we showed that we're, at least right now, much better than Kansas City, and I think we're better than Tennessee.
Yeah, we need to be better. Well, we're not better than Tennessee. We just lost to them. But we need to be better in January. The Chiefs, I don't know. I'm not burying that team.
I'm not crossing the Chiefs off. Everyone wants to, cross the Chiefs off. I'm not crossing.
Their defense still has a lot of injuries. And their offensive line takes time to gel.
The Chiefs aren't trying to peak in September and October.
Exactly. They're like the Patriots of 6 years ago. Their September-October record.
Yeah, they're going to turn it on. I still think they're going to turn it on. Probably win the West. So I think they probably dug themselves maybe too much of a hole to get the 1 seed because they got 4 losses already, right? So
Yeah.
they'd have to pick up 3 games on us to get ahead of us, which is kind of, I think that'll be
That's
tough
not,
to do.
yeah, that's
but
not likely. But all I want, just Chargers beat the Patriots. We beat the Dolphins. Just give us some more space between the Patriots, because they don't die to me. The Patriots, I don't know. I hate
I
Mac
know.
Jones. He's not great, but he can do enough. And they just have this weird ability. I don't know. They just spook me. They always will.
The Patriots suck. They beat the Jets twice so far.
Yeah.
They have 3 wins. 2 of them were the Jets. 1 of them was Houston.
Well, I mean, people are gonna be saying that about us in
Yeah, but
4 days.
guess what? They beat Houston by barely. We beat Houston by 40. And yeah, they have close losses, but that Bucks game, you throw the ball. I mean, you want to give them the Dallas game being a good game, sure. But the Bucks game, you can throw that one out the window. All the extra shit going on with that game and Brady and the weather was like a monsoon. Like, I mean, I just throw that one out. They played Dallas tough, yeah, but I'm just not going to. I'm not ready for any Mac Jones fight whatsoever.
Well, I mean, no one is other than like Patriots fanboy. Well, or like people that have to hump these white guys.
So like, he just hasn't been like totally terrible. So we got to be like super excited about.
Yeah, he has moxie or some shit. I don't know.
What does that even mean? He's not athletic. He doesn't have a good arm. I don't know. Like that pass against Dallas was lucky as hell.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that long pass. I mean, he threw it down the field that far, but it seemed like the safety and the corner thought they were going to collide or something.
Yeah, they like each thought the other one was supposed to like cover the guy.
It seemed like an easy interception, like while the ball was like coming off of the crest of its peak or whatever.
Yeah, it was just like a weird play.
Descending.
Like, I'm with it kind of on the Patriots never dying. I'm not. They're just not that good. They're just not that good. So I don't know. We'll see what they do this week. This is definitely a good gauge to see what New England is. I hope San Diego kills them.
Barometer game. All right, what's the prediction?
I have a bad feeling this game's going to be a little closer than I'd feel comfortable with. I'm going to go 31-21 Bills.
I want to give the Dolphins some chance, but unfortunately I've had to watch their last 2 games, and they look like shit. I'm just gonna say 40-10. I don't see it. I think they quit on Flores. Tua has 0 confidence. Rousseau coming back home. He's gonna have a big day again. He loves to eat this team up. He's done it at least once.
Yeah, Tua's confidence has to be like 100% completely shot. I mean,
or 0%.
Who's the like percent? I said after last, like I had never been less afraid of a quarterback than Tua the last 2 times we played him. Does that mean we're due for him to just like have some lucky game and like own us? I don't know.
I mean, they have Waddle and Devontae Parker are good. I mean, Gesicki usually has pretty decent games against us. Their running game is, I mean, in shambles pretty much. Fuller is still hurt. I mean, well, someone let me know when he's not hurt, I guess. But, I don't know.
Isn't he coming back off IR this week?
No, they said they weren't going to activate him.
They're not activating him? So
No.
he's still out.
Yeah.
They don't have him. What about Preston Williams? I feel like he's injured half the time, too.
They just have a bunch of random running backs. They're like us, but I don't follow their running backs. I mean, I know who the names are, but
Isn't he a receiver?
Oh.
Another big receiver, Williams, and I could have these names wrong, but I don't know. I just feel like
Williams. All right, well, we'll see you next week. Hung up.
Chet Henney is a joke. A motherfucking joke.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Give them some fucking credit. I mean, for real. I mean,
we got your T-shirt. You done left fingerprints and all. You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
We need an L. We need an L against Houston. We need as many L's as we can pile up from now until the end of the season. We're not making a playoff.